Sup, Millennials? We've talked on this program about how many of you are still lukewarm about Hillary Clinton, which is why today Clinton visited the college town of Durham, New Hampshire to talk more about student debt with the very coolest white-haired dude in all of politics, her former nomination rival, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Lately, we've noticed a new line of millennial persuasion that's being used by Clinton and her team. Their concerns young voters might either vote for Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson or Green Party's Jill Stein, or they might not turn out to vote at all. So amid attempts to inspire young voters to consolidate behind Clinton, the Democratic nominee and her highest profile surrogates are now trying to also kind of scare them, saying that doing anything but voting for Clinton would lead to a Trump presidency. Two people were out promoting that message today: the First Lady, Michelle Obama, on the campaign trail in Philadelphia, and her husband, President Obama, during a radio interview that aired on the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
If you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump. If you vote for a third-party candidate who's got no chance to win, that's a vote for Trump.
If you vote for someone other than Hillary, or if you don't vote at all, then you are helping to elect Hillary's opponent. And the stakes are far too high to take that chance. Too high. Remember, it's not about voting for the perfect candidate. There is no such person.
So, John, is this a tactic that will turn millennials out and turn them out to vote for Hillary Clinton?
Well, there's a version of it that I think, it's got to be a two-pronged thing. She's got to talk in a way, and maybe part of the things she talked about with Sanders today, talking about her college affordability plans, making people aware that she and Sanders, on a really key issue for a lot of millennials, are joined at the hip. That's important on the positive side. Some of this, raising the stakes of the election and trying to make clear to millennials that they have skin in this game and that things could be worse from the Democratic point of view if Trump wins, is going to be part of the message mix there, I think. But it can't be all of it.
I think it'll work with some from the millennials I have talked to who were wildly enthusiastic about Sanders. You know, Sanders was a different thing. They didn't like him because he was a Democrat. Right. They didn't like him because he was a politician. They didn't like him because they had long followed his career. They liked his authenticity and his ideas and his passion and his anti-establishment sensibility. I think getting them to vote for Clinton is going to be difficult. If they were forced to vote, I think a lot of them would give up Johnson and Stein, but I think a lot of them won't turn out right now. I'm not saying it's a done deal, but on the current state of affairs, I think this could be the key thing in the whole election. It
is the crucial question. All that but millennial vote that's parked with Gary Johnson, what portion, very little of it I think will go to Trump, but what portion of it goes to Clinton in the end and what portion of it stays home is really, I mean, in some of these states where Johnson especially is up in the 10, 11, 12%, could make the difference in the state. Colorado is one example. There are others.
For a lot of them, obviously, I mean, I talked to some millennials in Florida last week, and I said to them, you realize two things: that Bernie Sanders really wants you to vote for Hillary Clinton, and that Sanders and Clinton are almost indistinguishable on issues, according to both of them.
Especially issues you care about.
Yeah, and all five of them were fully unmoved. In the end, they said, yeah, maybe, but they didn't. There was no light bulb. There was no notion of, well, of course, I'll do that in the end. It was, maybe, probably, I don't like Trump.
It's funny, even though Sanders is older than Hillary Clinton, he was new. Yeah. And his newness was what was attractive. Yeah. He seemed like a new force in politics. Even millennials who don't know that much about Hillary Clinton think of her as the past. Yeah, that's a hard thing to get out of.
They don't love Trump, but they just think of Clinton as a totally different species than Sanders. And Sanders is what got them engaged in politics. And to some extent, President Obama got some of them engaged. But as David Plouffe and others have pointed out, there's a whole new wave of millennials who didn't vote for Barack Obama.
And they like Sanders.
They like Sanders.
His unconventionality and the fact that he wanted to break the system. They want to break the system, too. Hillary, even when she agrees with Sanders, doesn't want to break the system over her knee.
That I've said they must keep at this with the Obamas and Bernie Sanders and everything else.
All right.